Right. How's it going? How's it going? We'll give people a chance to get in. Hello, hello. Hello, Dipsy. Hello, Lady Like Grace. Let's see. I just got my notice that we're live, so. All right. See if I can't share some stuff here. Better get my glasses on. Yes, Clint Twombly ran for the position of Cimarron County Sheriff in Oklahoma. He was a candidate in the Republican primary election held on June 18, 2024. His opponent in the primary was Tanya Wood. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the election results to confirm whether he won the primary or not. Well, he did win. We have that access. And let me see here if I can get this to pull it up for you. Ooh. Hey, it says Clint Twombly and Tanya Wood. That was the elections. There was the results. Let me get this little X out of the way. Oops, went too fast now. It's going slow. I'm in the bus, so Clint Twombly won by 77.4%, and Tanya Wood got 22.6%. So, interesting. Again, I'm going to say it 1,000 times. I like the sheriff that did end up taking that job. Seems like a nice guy to me. But he was not in the election. He was 8 days shy of being a resident. So, although we can't pinpoint why Twombly didn't go on to take the sheriff job, they don't say that anywhere. So hold on. I would assume it's because of that trailer was pulled off his property. I'm pretty sure that trailer was pulled off of when we saw it being moved. I'm not from there, but it didn't look like Tad's. It wasn't Tiffany's because Tiffany has blacktop out in front of her house. That is true. Somebody mentioned that. That is true. There is blacktop in front of her house, and there's dirt in front of Clint or in front of Tad's. If you go back to look at the day, the one and only time I was ever there wasn't all them trees and not all them trees on the right side. So let's see here. I'm working off my hotspot, so it's a little slow. That kicked that out, so let me try something else here. Okay, let me share this with you too. Hello to everybody that's here. We are definitely going to be digging. Make sure on my way to work. You can listen to us on your way to work. Hey, Lavender, Robin H. On the road but listening. All right. Okay. As you and Tanya that ran, it also shows you what the results were of that election. And the results of that election, nowhere has Swinton in it. These two are who ran. Clint Twombly, Tanya Wood, excuse me. So let's show you something else. Okay. Here we go. This is the Cimarron County Sheriff's Office. See the web page. Some bookings there. Okay, again, I like this guy. I met him. I like him. My only issue is the way they worded this. Mark Swinton, sworn in as sheriff of Cimarron County. The Cimarron County Sheriff Office is pleased to announce that Mark Swinton was officially sworn in as sheriff on January 7, 2025. Now, let's remember, he was under sheriff. Took that job, I want to say August. Anyway, they've had a hard time keeping a sheriff. He wanted to run for sheriff, but the way I understood it, he was 8 days shy. Either way, glad he's there. Sheriff Swinton takes on his leadership role, I know I've read this before, with a commitment to public safety and community engagement and upholding the law with integrity, with a strong background in law enforcement. Sheriff Swinton previously served as undersheriff of Cimarron County, where he worked closely with local agencies to enhance safety initiatives and law enforcement operations. It don't have the date when he took that job. I'm not sure how long he had that job, but he was basically the undersheriff. His career as a police officer, Luther Police Department since August 2020, gained valuable information. During his swearing-in ceremony, Sheriff Swinton expressed his gratitude to the people of Cimarron County, stating, "I am honored to serve as sheriff and to continue working for the safety and well-being of our community. I look forward to leading the dedicated men and women of the Cimarron County Sheriff Office and strengthening our partnership with residents to ensure a safer future for everyone. He graduated from Ripley High School. Sheriff Swinton studied Homeland Security, law enforcement, firefighting, and related protective services, providing him with a strong foundation for his law enforcement career. As sheriff, he aims to prioritize crime prevention, increase community engagement, and enhance training for deputies to better serve in Cimarron County. There you go. There's that part. Now, make sure I catch up to everything. Hello, Christopher. Always late. Shame on you. We're going to swat you. Just kidding. Hi, Rock. Let's see here. Hi, Rock. I have been here just quiet. Listen, there's not a problem with being quiet. I want to say I'm sorry for all the drama you have been through. It's sad, but I'm glad we are still a group. I was very upset the way you were treated. Sunflower, it's okay. You know, one thing I will say is some people cannot handle the truth. And, you know, bringing out stuff that is the truth, sometimes it upsets people. So, okay, I got an article here. I don't know how to pull it up, so I'm just going to read it. Okay, Clint Twombly's resignation from the Cimarron County Sheriff Office isn't explicitly detailed in public records as a standalone event tied to a specific documented reason. However, context from the Kansas mom's case and related developments suggests a plausible narrative. Clint Twombly, and in this article says brother of Cole Twombly, I understood they were cousins, one of the 5 suspects charged in the murders of Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly, served as Cimarron County Sheriff until his resignation in late 2024. See, this article's wrong. I'll just say it straight up. This article's wrong. Cole Twombly was not the sheriff. He was elected, and he was going to take over after the first of the year, and that didn't happen. So to say he was serving as sheriff, let's see, where did this article come from? Because this article that I'm reading is not correct. It says, served as Cimarron County Sheriff until his resignation in late 2024, which isn't true. He just ran for sheriff in late 2024. He assumed the role after winning the Republican primary in June 18, 2024 against Tanya Wood, and faced no Democratic opposition in the general election. Now, that part is true. They did have a race, and that race was conducted on June 18, 2024, and Twombly did win that race. Let's see here. Effectively securing the position uncontested. His tenure began under normal circumstances, but the high-profile murder case involving his brother. Yeah, see, I'm not comfortable with that article at all. The Kansas moms exploded April 2024 with Cole Twombly, Core Twombly, Tiffany Adams, Tad Cullum, and Paul Grice arrested for the March 30th murders. Court documents from April 15, 2024 note Clint's entanglement involvement. Cora and Cole used a blue flatbed pickup owned by Clint when they left home on the day of the killings, returning around noon. Their daughter was instructed to clean the truck, hinting at its use in the crime. Though no direct evidence ties Clint to the plot, as sheriff of a county with fewer than 2,500 residents, where the news travels fast, Clint would have faced intense scrutiny given his familial connection to a suspect in a case that gripped the nation and the region. The God's Misfits anti-government group to which the suspects belonged further complicated the local dynamic, potentially eroding public trust in law enforcement ties. It says Clint resigned sometime after October 1st, 2024. He wouldn't have took election until January, so I'm really confused on it. But Clint resigned sometime after October 1st, 2024, when George Leach. Okay, that's not right either. When George Leach became DA. Okay, so I find a lot in this article to be wrong. It's an article off of X. Adams' control as her son, Wrangler Rickman, the children's father, was in rehab. Evidence shows premeditation. Adams bought burner phones, last seen near the burial site on March 30th, and 5 stun guns the days before, while Cullum digging a line with the timeline. A witness to Twombly's teenage daughter told investigators the group had previously plotted to kill Butler by dropping an amble through her windshield, a plan Cullum and Adams allegedly devised. I don't know why I thought that was something that Cora and Granny did, but I could have been wrong. Cullum was arrested April 13, 2024 in Texas County with bond denied. At a December 2024 preliminary hearing, Beasley testified Cullum warned him post-murder that police might suspect him due to the skid steer tracks, urging a cover story. Cullum's history with the property owner and his actions suggests the leveraged local ties to execute and conceal the crime. While his deeper past remains murky, beyond the assault charge ex post. Interesting. We're going to have to dig through. Hello. Let's see here. Sorry, I was reading off my phone. It was just easier. Did I go back far enough? Let's start here. Hey, Heather Fitzgerald. Nobody's messing with Rock except the cocksucker over on the other channel. He likes to try to make fun. That's okay. We'll make fun back, right? We can always make fun back. He wants to play games. We can play games back. Here we go. His birthday's coming up in April. There you go. Happy birthday, dick sucker. That'll be it for him. Sorry for the loss of your friend. Okay, Christopher. Just found out a close friend died in jail last night in Barton County Jail. Interesting. That's horrible, Christopher. I'm sorry to hear that. I suspect maybe drug involved. They just arrested him a few hours before. Could have been fentanyl and it got him. Hey, Bianca. Heather says hey to Bianca. He did have a running opposition, that Tanya Wood, but that was on the Republican side. So he won it against her. I guess my point was, like I said, the sheriff there, the undersheriff that was appointed, I liked him. And I asked him why he wasn't running for sheriff. He said he was 8 days shy of having residency. But one thing I've learned about Cimarron County, and I'm not trying to talk bad about them, but they have a hard time keeping a sheriff over there. A good sheriff, not a crooked sheriff. At one point, McIntyre was over there in Cimarron County, I believe. I'm almost positive McIntyre was the sheriff there for a little bit of time. I know McIntyre was the chief of police in Keith, and for some reason I'm feeling like, if somebody knows, let me know. I think he might have been a sheriff for a very short time. I could have that wrong, though. Heather says to Christopher, I gotta get my glasses on. Christopher, hearts, hearts, hearts. Many, many years ago, I lost a friend from OD. Her son was 2 when she passed. Last night was the first time I've been able to speak to him. He was not raised by the living parent. Oh, that's kind of, that brings me to something, Heather. There is a living parent to Veronica's kids. Wrangler's still alive, the father to them kids. And, he's been to rehab. He's got a good job. Yes, his wife has 3 kids, and then they have a baby together. But since when does that stop somebody from getting custody of their kids? I don't understand. I think eventually he will get custody. It's my understanding there's a custody type of hearing or some type of court hearing for child custody on April 17th. We're going to hope that the judge pays attention that he's doing well, and that, I've heard rumors that the kids aren't doing that well. And like peeing themselves and peeing the bed and peeing themselves at school. I've not been able to verify that. But that would be up to the SRS worker or children's services worker, whatever you call them people. She should be going to school and getting documentation from the school. You can't just rely on foster parents to tell you certain things, especially when they've moved to a bigger house. They get income by being a foster parent. I'm not saying that's the only reason why they're doing it, but there's several things you get by being a foster parent. You get income for being the foster parent. You qualify for food stamps because you're taking care of somebody else's kids. But Dad's already been to rehab. Why wouldn't Dad get custody? I don't understand. And he hasn't even talked to his kids before before he went to jail. So it's been a long time. So as 2 small children, sorry, I'm opening a soda. As 2 small children, I believe their grandma loved them. What she did is absolutely horrible, and she's going to pay for it. But they lost their grandma. They lost their mom. Their biological dad's still alive, and they haven't even got to talk to him. And I would surely hope that nobody is, are they telling these children that the granny killed their mom? How would these children know this? Because that's another thing that I was told, that it's in some paperwork, that it says there that they talk to the children, and the children say their granny killed their mom. If that's true, who's telling these young kids this? It's not like they're in their teens and it's something they can understand. Anyway, back to Christopher. This friend worked for me last year on a drilling rig. Yes, but a lot of news stations thought he was a brother. Yes, I agree, because they grew up together. But still, he wasn't a brother. Talking about Clint Twombly again. Only Nana, hot glasses, happy grandma. Hi, Rock, I miss you. I hope all is well with your daughter and family. Well, she's on bed rest. She went to the doctor yesterday. The heartbeats are still really, really good. They did a sonogram, and they're touching each other. They have separate sacs. They're touching each other. But next Thursday, they'll go in and see how big they are. One's been growing at like 3%, and the other one's in the 80 percentile. So one is significantly bigger than the other. And let me tell you, she is huge and miserable, and the babies are very active. So only Nan's hot glasses, happy grandma. Rock, I changed my name. What was your name? this Beach Baby? Who is this? Who is Only Nan's Hot Glasses? Happy Grandma. I like it. It's in red glasses you got on. Let me see. Nope, not red glasses. Checking it out. Okay, so Lavender says, yes, KM was sheriff for a short time there. And then did they have an election and he didn't make it? Did he ever go for election or did they take the job from him? Do we know? If we don't know, that's okay. I'll do some digging. Let's see here. Same with the father. He's been sober since she passed. It's always been upsetting knowing that my friend would have never wanted her child to not, at some level, know the father's family. I agree. Well, I don't know about the father's family. Listen, I'm not even going to get started on the father's family. But Wrangler himself, absolutely. I believe that Wrangler should get custody of his kids. Only Nans, I keep saying in my start, and only pause for this pitbull autonomous. Okay. At Bianca, I have family near OKC and Norman. Okay, I got you. I know who you are. I know who you are. Yeah, I mean that's just what I've heard. I heard there's documents out there that says it. Um, that was written by the caseworker, and the caseworker says that Cole, the son, says that his granny killed his mom. Um, it comes up with some really crazy stuff, trying to say that the dad years ago, I assume years ago, because he hasn't seen the kids in what 2 years. So years ago, supposedly he had his son cut him with a knife. The sister don't remember that. Had him drinking beer. I doubt that happened. And smoking on a cigarette, nicotine puffer, a nicotine puffer. That's the rumor. Now, if I had that paperwork to show you, because it's about the kids, I wouldn't have it. You know what I mean? But that's the rumor. I believe it. I believe it's being said. I would hope it's not that. You know what I mean? Only Nan's hot glasses. Do you come to through Wichita a lot? That'll tell me exactly who you are. You come to Wichita a lot. You got family here. Take care of your family here, like every month, because I'll give you your wrench back. That's you. Hello, y'all. Good to see Rock, Chalk, and beautiful soul mods. Rocket family, love to you. Love back. Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm in the bus. I'm in the bus. I got a candle going. Let's see what kind of candle this is. See the candle? It is a Bath and Body Works. Anyway, Rick's out doing some errands, so I thought I'd jump on here and go live. It's good to see you. Oh, hold on. What's that mic? Okay, so I'm hearing Kevin McIntyre ran for sheriff and he lost. Let's see if I can't pull that up. Let's see if we can't pull that up. Kevin McIntyre. Boy, that's a name that just keeps coming up with nothing but problems. Ran for Cimarron County Sheriff. Win. I mean, they went through so many. In 2023, they appointed a sheriff named James Taylor. Oh my gosh. You know, nothing surprises me with this guy. But okay, hold on. You heard the heater just kick on to the bus. Let's show you guys this. We're dabbling. We are dabbling. We are dabbling all over the place. Just going to keep on dabbling. Okay. Share screen. It was going to be about Twombly, but here we go. We're gonna go here. Let me pull up my phone to make sure that you're seeing what I'm seeing. I don't have any of the TVs on. Okay. Look down here. Okay. Ex-investigator faces embezzlement charges. We already went over that, right? Okay. Now let's come down here. Cimarron County Sheriff's Office under investigation. August 5th, 2012. Intern Cimarron County Sheriff Kevin McIntyre told the Boise City News on Wednesday that Cleet is there anything good about this guy, this Kevin McIntyre? Because I don't ever find any articles good. Okay, let's make sure that this is. I know you guys are a little bit behind. Hi, Tiny Tots. Oops. Hold on. That'd be Rick calling me. Hold on. Let me make it quick. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so let's see here. Stop screen, present. We want to share this article. Rick is on his way back, so let's see here. Cimarron County Sheriff Office under investigation. It seems like anywhere that this KM goes, there's an investigation. And they still keep hiring him for LE jobs. What the hell? So he gets a grand jury indictment, has to give up his police license. Then he goes to the Panhandle. He runs a convenience store, becomes the chief of police in Keys. Something happens with the sheriff over in Cimarron, so he subs in, and then this comes across. Supposedly he ran for sheriff and lost. Interim Cimarron County Sheriff Kevin McIntyre told the Boise City News on Wednesday that CLEAT, Council of Law Enforcement and Training, is in the process of an investigation of the sheriff's office. McIntyre said that CLEAT investigator Walt Birdsong, an employee of CLEAT, was investigating actions by previous employees regarding CLEAT documents, i.e. personnel documents. Since it concerns personnel, McIntyre cannot reveal names. We are cooperating, McIntyre said. CLEAT has, since 1963, been the agency that trains peace officers in the state of Oklahoma. Hmm. And that was the end of that article. So, interesting. Interesting. Let me get back to you guys. Make sure I got everybody. I'm glad you love this channel. Well, some people don't like the channel because they can't handle the truth. And I realize how sensitive the truth is. Don't get me wrong. I realize that I went places that other creators won't go, as far as the essay. And the reason is because I've seen the essay. The aunt sent it to everybody. So we know there was substantiated essay on the brothers. So with that said, I'm not going to sit here and blow shit up your ass and smoke up your nose and tell you that the essay didn't happen when I've seen the paperwork saying it did. Now, the paperwork I saw was with Veronica's two brothers, the older brother doing things to the younger brother. I have not seen the paperwork on Wrangler and Veronica's kids. So, I haven't even asked to see it. Because in the paperwork that was sent to everybody in Discord, it straight up says that there's a case that was also substantiated, and it has their names and it has the case number. So I don't need to read that case to know it was substantiated too. If you go back to the very beginning, I played it for you 1,000 times. Tiffany's old attorney talks about the essay. He says it's a 27-page document and that he's read all of it and that it did happen. And we can replay that again. But I upset some people by letting that out. Well, listen, if you're a crime person and you're like me, you always look for a motive. That don't mean the motive's right, okay? That don't mean that the motive means that they made the right decisions, okay? It just means you want to find a reason why Granny wanted to do this stuff so bad and why she was so upset. Again, there's a difference between allegations. Allegations go around with any type of divorce, custody battle. I mean, my gosh, back and forth. Go sit in the court. You wouldn't believe some of the things people say. They're mostly allegations. But when you get something that says Children's Services from Kansas and it's substantiated, that means they investigated it and they found it to be true. If they would have found it to be untrue, it would have said unsubstantiated. So, no, Wrangler has had no visitations, not even a telephone call with these children. And he's been very sad about it, but he's still doing the right thing. He's going through all of his classes, his AA meetings. They go to church. He's got a good job. Somebody said the concern was them having too many kids. Well, I mean, some Catholics have 14, 15 kids. Did people tell them they couldn't have that many kids because there was a concern? I mean, I have not seen any paperwork at all that took these kids from their dad, ever. Now, obviously, when he was in jail and Veronica had supervised visitation, obviously, Granny was watching them. But I've not seen any paperwork saying that these kids have ever been taken from the dad by the courts. That the courts took the kids from the dad. Let's see here. Hi, Skyline. Good to see you. Good to see everyone. Rick is on his way back. He's happy grandma. Skyline. Rock, I change my name all the time because you suggested for safety. Absolutely. Hi, Brian Rambles. Good to see you. I'm not going to be able to be on very long. We are in the bus, and Rick should be back anytime with the Jeep. He went to run some errands, and then we're probably going to start cooking. Somebody's supposed to show up to help you clean. Brian, Bry Guy. So if he disappears, he's not being rude. Ruff, ruff. Skyline, hello. Hi, Deb C. No, not much to talk. Okay, well, you're good. Oh my God, where are you going, Rock? Well, I already went. It's a secret place. It's a secret place where nobody can find me. Okay? Nobody can find me. We had to go do some errands, like out of town. So we loaded up the bus and the Jeep. Tiny Tots, much love to you. Glad you came in. Again, we're digging deep. We want to see, but I don't think it's going to be written anywhere. Did the county commissioners in Cimarron County say, hey, this is a really bad idea for you to do this, take this sheriff job, because your truck was involved, your cousin's involved. Also, if you guys think about it, where they pulled that truck or the trailer out of, let me see if I can pull that up again, because that is just crazy. That's not Tad's house, and that's not Tiffany's house. I agree. Is it Clint's house? Let's see here. Kansas mom's case trailer. Towed. And that was News Nation. Let me see if I can find it this way. Because I'm pretty sure that was definitely not Tiffany or Tad's place. This is still on here. This kind of pisses me off. The poor people that were in the black truck are residents there. Hey, Brian. Is this video new info or replay just got here? Actually, we were pulling up, Kevin McIntyre was also the interim sheriff in Cimarron County. And then he ran for sheriff and didn't get it. And there was a big investigation with Cleet. Anyway. There you go. It's nice to see you. So we was really trying to figure out, because it says that Swinton, who we like, ran for sheriff and won, but we know he didn't run. He was the interim undersheriff. He was the undersheriff, but he didn't have enough residency to run for sheriff. But he got sheriff. But he got sheriff. So if anybody knows, did the commissioner's office tell him, hey, I don't think it's a good idea you take this job? Because he's still got his job working for Keys or Cimarron County. He works for Cimarron County, I believe, like a road grader anything to do with the roads type thing. I don't know, but that's what I'm assuming. He just kept his original job.
And you could not, because you had to hightail it for safety. You're in a very rural area. It's very dark. It's very desolate. And suddenly you found yourself followed. Did I get any of that wrong? And take me from there.
We took this right on Highway 95 to see if we could just quickly find the spot where the women's SUV was located. Our plan was to show this to you, to film it, and get out of there. And when we went to turn around, this big black truck with tinted windows pulled up and seemingly looked like it was going to start to block us. And our plan all along was, if we see somebody coming down the road, let's all get in the car and get out of here, which is exactly what we did. Now, were we near somebody's private property? We might have been. I've been talking to a private investigator, not involved in this case, but knows the area well. And she said that there's a lot of human trafficking that goes on here. There's a lot of, because it is so rural, there are other things that happen.
You were supposed to lead this news.
So you from the area, is there, I know there's human trafficking everywhere, but you're telling me in that rural area, you guys got a lot of human trafficking going on there? Is that why they were going to try to claim this as human trafficking? I'm just curious from the locals, because I know we got a lot of locals in here. Again, the big black truck saw that somebody was down there doing news. They're from Dallas. They just bought a house in the area of Four Corners, and they drove there to look. The guy called me. I relayed the message. Then he came on twice. And then I even met him in Walmart parking lot. But actually, when they went to leave to get out of there, they were still at the highway. News Nation followed them. So this story just really irks me. That's why I hit a dislike.
And you could not, because you had to hightail it for safety. You're in a very rural area. It's very dark. It's very desolate. And suddenly you found yourself followed. Did I get any of that wrong? And take me from there.
We took this right on Highway 95 to see if we could just quickly find the spot where the women's SUV was located. Our plan was to show this to you, to film it, and get out of there. And when we went to turn around, this big black truck with tinted windows pulled up and seemingly looked like it was going to start to block us. And our plan all along was, if we see somebody coming down the road, let's all get in the car and get out of here, which is exactly what we did. Now, were we near somebody's private property? We might have been. I've been talking to a private investigator, not involved in this case, but knows the area well. And she said that there's a lot of human trafficking that goes on here. There's a lot of, because it is so rural, there are other things that happen.
You were supposed to lead this newscast and you couldn't.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Is there a lot of human trafficking going on down there? Yes, Southwest Kansas and Oklahoma Panhandle has a ton of human trafficking. Because that's exactly what they were trying to say happened to Julian. Right? I don't believe KM is related to Reba McIntyre. I worked with a retired professional roper that almost married Reba. You know, Kelly Clarkson was married to Reba's son. That's kind of crazy, huh? Okay, Jason, I don't know of any locals being kidnapped. I do think there is a lot of trafficking on Highway 287 and 54. Both a drug corridors as well, but not a local issue. Thank you, Jason. And listen, everybody can thank Jason, because Jason brought it to my attention that Clint was not the sheriff. It's not the sheriff. And then you got that article. Okay, so that article from the Oklahoma Watch with the DA and the DA task force being under investigation. I have noticed other stations have put it up. Now, with that said, I sent it to Channel 3, Julia Thatcher. She messaged me back. I'll even tell you what day it was on. I sent it also to Amarillo, KFDA. I've not heard anything back from them, but Julia Thatcher sent me a message back. I sent it to Laura Engel, I sent it to Judy Ron. I sent it to Police on the Cuff. Let's see here. Here's Julia Thatcher. I sent her the article and I wrote some stuff with it. She said, thank you. We are looking into it. That was on Wednesday. So I'm hoping the story comes out from them too. I really do. What they all call the coyotes who go to Mexico and get the illegals and bring them back to work at the dairies and pig farms. Also take girls from the area back to Mexico. I'm going to have to look up on that, Crazy Mama, because I have not seen it. But I will check into it. I do know that we got a lot of people still in this channel that's from that area. Several from Boise City, several from Guyman, several from Hugoton, several from Ulysses. Maybe 3 from Elkhart. So we still got a lot of locals that pay attention to this channel. So at the end of the day, everybody wants the truth. And at the end of the day, we all know that what was done, they all should have to pay for it, and anybody involved. And I don't believe I'm the only person that thinks that there's more involved. I believe there's other people involved. I absolutely think there's other people involved. Where was that? I was trying to see when they were pulling out the trailer. Kansas mom's killing case, neighbor says we're not cultists or demons. Huh. Do we remember this guy?
It's dark out here, so bear with me, but this is the area where the missing women were found. This is the spot. You remember in the police report, they mentioned a dam. This right here, this buildup of dirt, this is the dam. There's a pond on the other side. And if you walk with me this way, just about 50 feet or so, maybe a little more from the dam, you can see where the earth is disturbed, where the tractors were out here. This is where investigators came. They dug right in this area, went down about 10 feet, I'm told, and this is where they discovered the missing mom's bodies. If you look in the distance there, you can see there is a pile of hay back there. I am told by sources that hay was moved over the area where the digging happened, that Tad, the suspect Tad, moved that hay over here to cover up the area where he was digging, hoping that the cows, this is there's a cow farm here, that the cows would come over, this is a ranch, and start feeding on the hay and make the area look less suspicious. But still, investigators were led to this spot. And again, this is the area right here where they started digging and they found the bodies. Remote area, Ashley, very, very difficult to get to. Again, you go down the dirt road and then you have to walk all the way out there. There's really not much out here at all in any of these areas in western Oklahoma, but cattle land and ranches and windmills, by the way. If you see the blinking red lights behind me, if you're wondering what those are the windmills. At night, they have these blinking red lights on them. I almost thought it was an airport at first. So nothing out here but windmills and cows, Ashley.
So tell me about the adjoining property to the property where the graves were dug. The neighbor who lives adjacent actually saw what was going on, saw the police showing up with the backhoes. Tell me a little bit about the neighbor.
Yeah, so the neighbor did spot what was happening. I mean, when, the convoy of state and local law enforcement moved in, obviously shocking to everyone. First of all, the property owner who owns and was leasing the land to Tad Cullum is shocked by all of this, had nothing to do with the murders. Can't believe they found the bodies on his land. His neighbor, though, is also just knows everybody involved, like so many around here, knows all 4 suspects, knows both victims, knows all of their families, is upset about the rap that their community is getting nationwide because, there's a lot of just good farmers and family people out here. This is what he told me. Did you know everyone involved?
Yes.
Wow. That puts, a lot of people here are in the same position, but that must just be emotionally
It's
tough.
Hard. It's hard. It's very hard. And, they all come from great families. and their families are still great. Their brothers and sisters, mothers, fathers, they're all people that I've known all my life and think a lot of and still do. We can't let the acts of one reflect badly on everybody. We're not guilty by association.
Was it shocking in particular with these folks, having known them?
Well, it's not my place to pass judgment. That's the judicial system's job, not mine. And I'm not here to condemn or support. I'm just here to say that the people in this county are good people.
Yeah.
And we don't want this to reflect differently than what we really are. We're not cults and we're not misfits, and we're just hardworking ranchers and farmers. And odds are, if you've eaten beef or you've eaten pork or you've eaten bread, odds are the people in this area had something to do with providing the products that made those things that we all survive on. And we're not demons. We're just not.
Ashley, I've seen several grown men, ranchers, get tears in their eyes over the last couple of days talking about this situation. Again, just because not only do they know all of the suspects, but they also know the victims. They know the area where the bodies were found. They know the landowner. Everybody knows everybody. And it's just still a very, very emotional time.
I'm sure that they're just all rocked by the notion that they may be painted with the same brush, which is just horrible to think of. Speaking of those who are out there and everyone knowing everyone, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
And then murder them and bury them.
Oops. Got too much stuff on this little bitty table.
I could not imagine it. It was a shock to find out she was charged.
When you look through the documents, counsel, and the recitation of what happened from the 16-year-old witness specifically, it is a pretty compelling narrative that your client was absolutely involved in this, and it was planned. How do you understand that?
Well, to be fair, this has been a contentious custody and guardianship matter.
Yes, I was muted. I said I'm trying to find where the trailer was pulled out from. Does anybody know if that's Clint's place? Because Tiffany has blacktop in front of her out there. And also, Tad's place on the left was a field, except it had like a rolled over caravan type of truck in it. So, anyway, this is about the SA. And this is from April 17th. And this is her prior attorney. This is the guy that I believe also represented Timothy McVeigh, this Stephen Jones. I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure he's a high-priced attorney that represented Timothy McVeigh.
And a lot of temporary orders have been entered by the court, but no final orders having been entered. It's gone on too long and it's too acrimoniously. Now, at the Ms. Adams is a well-known member of the community. She's in the farming and ranching business. Her family is pioneers. She's on the board of the county hospital, and she's a farmer rancher. She has strong feelings. The children's mother and father were never married, so we have this custody battle. The father is serving a time in prison, so he's not available. And she asked the court in a petition for guardianship to be made the guardian of the children.
Right.
In other words, custody. Now, what brought this on was the issue of temporary visitation and whether it would be
supervised or unsupervised.
Yes.
Right, but I get all that, and I get that it was ugly, counsel. What I'm saying is, did you ever get any indication that your client was willing, desperate enough to do anything violent to the mother just to keep custody of the kids?
I did not.
When you heard that, you know, you say she's a member of the community, she's well known. Did you know that she was a part of an organization called God's Misfits that's supposedly this kind of anarchic organization that's anti-government, anti-rules?
I did not know that, but I'm not surprised. Cimarron County and much of the Panhandle is very individualistic, independent, mostly farmers and town suppliers, and very, very conservative. And I've represented people in the Panhandle over 50 years. And every time I go out there, I hear about a new group that doesn't believe in your dollar bill or other things. And that just goes on in Cimarron County. It's a small, isolated county, looks to Amarillo, shops Amarillo, watches Amarillo television, and they keep to themselves. But since 1960, they have changed politically. Very evangelical, very conspiratorial in the sense of not trusting the government. Now, that's probably half the county. The other half of the county is traditional farmers and ranchers,
right,
who pay their bills and participate in community life.
So well, this is the first half, it seems, we're dealing with here. Counsel, did you ever pick up anything in her that would have indicated she had this kind of character, that she could plan a hit basically on the mother of her grandchildren? I mean, we have some context here. Her own son, who's in rehab, I didn't understand him to be in prison, I thought he was in rehab, says that she was threatening him and saying that he better put his name on the things that she tells him to. I mean, she sounds like a mob boss more than a grandmother. You didn't pick up any of that in her.
I did not. And the reason I did not is because there's an element that has not been considered here. The Kansas Department of the Protection of Children and the county sheriff in Hugoton, Kansas, conducted a 27-page review of the allegations that Mrs. Butler's 18-year-old half-brother had sexually violated not only the two children here, but his own brother, plus others.
Right.
That report exists. I can assure you it's on the prosecutor's desk and on whoever represents her now. That was a very serious allegation.
Sure.
And Mrs. Adams' position was that Mrs. Butler didn't believe that her brother could do that.
Right.
Even though the department found that he could. And so for her to have visitation without supervision was dangerous to the children. And the judge has already found that there was probable cause to believe that this boy was a sexual predator and had attacked her children. Now, her son, and let's face it, they're estranged. These two people, the mother and father, were never married.
Right.
They're marginal in the economy, although the son has tried to turn himself around. And the allegations, every allegation that could be made is theirs. But the fact is, I've read the report. I know what it says.
Right. I believe that. I believe that the allegations for probable cause, as we both know, you being a much more veteran, officer of the court than I am, but probable cause is a very low standard. It was early on in the review. But even if all the allegations were true, the idea that the rational remedy, counsel, is to plan a hit on the mother and the person who's there to provide guidance, absenting someone that you like, right? Because there was another woman who was supposed to be there that the grandmother allegedly told not to come, and then murder them and bury them doesn't seem to be the right remedy for the best interests of the child.
No, and that's the state's case. If what you just said is true, then we have a horrible homicide in which two people were ambushed that were coming to pick up one own's child. And it's gothic. It's something out of the Bates Motel. And it's a terrible thing. Whoever is responsible for it, it is shocking. There's no question about that.
I think that, the most surprising thing to me, especially this, and then I'll let you go, and I appreciate your time, Mr. Jones, is that you could know somebody through the course of this and be completely shocked that she had this level of animus towards the mother, that you never saw any trace of that.
I did not. I saw eccentricity. I saw Cimarron County individualism and independence, but I didn't see the prospect of homicide.
Stephen Jones, I appreciate you very much. I know that you're recovering from a procedure. I wish you the best. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to News Nation.
It's dark out here, so bear with me, but this is the area where the missing women were found. This is the spot. You remember in the
I need to unmute. Probable cause not substantiated. The children, if you're talking about the children's services, they did the report. The aunt that did the documentary gave everybody that report in Discord. And that report says in detail about the brothers. And then it also says about the other case. It has a case number, and it says it was substantiated too. Now, I've not seen Wrangler and Veronica's children report, and I don't want to. I'm just telling you, I saw the other one, and it did say substantiated. There was a lot that was supposed to be done, and when you want to say that the system failed, it absolutely did, because somebody didn't follow through with that system. I'm not making excuses at all, but again, I did see that. Gosh, I was trying to get that generator started because I am on red. It says low battery. The property was connected to Tad where the trailer was pulled out of. If Clint living on Tad's property, I don't know. But we can find out, I think. I think we need to check into that, because if you guys remember, any of you remember, I remember seeing something where Clint turned it into the police department that this trailer showed up on his property and it wasn't his. We need to find that. We need to find that, because I do remember seeing that. Yeah, it was seized on April 16th, but from where? It says a friend of Tad's property in the article that you just sent me. But why do I think that Clint turned it in as, hey, this trailer showed up on my property and I don't know where it came from? You're not in trouble for changing the subject. I apologize for changing the subject, but I'd love to hear your opinion on something rock. First it was drones, then fog, and now an airplane crash almost every day. My opinion on that? I don't think it's Trump's fault. And in every one of them, it said it had nothing to do with the FAA. So it's not because of the cuts. I don't know. Everywhere it's wintertime. And weather is not the same as it's been in the last couple of years. I mean, here in Kansas, we're getting down to -6. And I remember growing up and, thinking 25. Just 25 was cold. So things are a lot different nowadays. So are the pilots misjudging? I mean, I think you got to take every crash differently and see. Now the drones, I watch Sean Ryan. I'm a big Sean Ryan fan. And he's got a lady that goes on there. I'm not going to say her name. You just have to go watch it. But she's still friends with a lot of people in Saudi Arabia, Iraq. And rumor has it there's 1,000 missiles, Iranian missiles, stateside here in the United States. And they're trying to find them. So my opinion on that, on the drones, is it was our own government trying to find them Iranian missiles. Because a regular drone is not the size of an SUV. That's my opinion on that. I hope I answered it the way you wanted me to, Robbie Combs. Drones, then fog, and now an airplane. Also, I watched the Maui thing. You didn't ask me this, but I watched it. And I found it really hard to believe that, that red umbrellas and blue umbrellas survived that. Is it some type of laser that is catching these fires? Is that what happened in California? Let me try to start this generator before I lose you. I'm going to try one more time. Yep, it's too cold. That generator does not want to start. So we're just going to have to keep going. I might lose you in the middle. If I do, I'll come back on my phone, but I won't be able to share things. Is this a coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences, but I do believe that, Mother Nature is acting really strange too. So yes, Carla, there were other cases besides these kids by the same perp in other states. Actually, yeah, there was 3 cases altogether, and they lumped Veronica and Wrangler's kids in the same thing. Now, I will say this. I believe Veronica was doing everything right. I don't believe she was getting the kids around her brothers. I believe she was following the court order. And I think Granny, since Wrangler was in rehab, she thought that the chances of Veronica getting the kids would happen, and it might very well have happened. I don't know. But what she had scheduled for court was to have longer visitation and eventually get rid of the supervised visitation. So I don't really know about that. And the one thing I do know is that Jillian was the original caseworker that would write reports to the judge about the visits. And the way I understand it, Granny didn't like the reports Jillian was making, and she hired this other lady. Well, when all this went down, the lady that Granny liked she told her to take a couple weeks off, and they got Jillian back to doing it. And Jillian, being the nice lady that she is, she wanted Veronica to be able to see her kids and took that case. But we don't hear a lot about Jillian. But I'm going to assume, and I know you should never assume, but I'm going to assume that if someone was to ask, probably even her husband, which I wouldn't do that because I don't want to keep bringing it up, but I think Jillian knew. I think Jillian knew what she was dealing with, not to this extent, but there's a reason why she had probably her gun with her that day. She knew things might not go as planned. I think it might have been on the second interview with News Nation and the judge after he got fired and went to Tad's. I don't think he was at Tad's unless he was that truck, but everybody said that wasn't even his truck. Heather says, I mean, I could give you an answer, but you might want to wrap yourself in tinfoil first. Well, do I got tinfoil in this bus? Maybe that's something I need to send Rock to get. And now, let's not forget, everybody thinks they had all this money. Let's not forget that Lori, Tad's mom, it was her cousin involved in that big Elkhart Bank, millions of dollars, the Elkhart Bank scandal. And would you guys believe that some of the 5, at least 2, had major loans through that bank? Major loans through that bank. Bankers are bright. There you go. Yeah, my thing says low. My battery, I just got the battery replaced in this iMac Air, and seems to go low real quick. It was a full battery when I started, so I was trying again to look and see. And this guy here, and he went and did I don't see him on the witness list. What do you guys think about Beasley being on the witness list and also doing that documentary? I have questions about that. Well, just trying to see when they pulled out that vehicle, but I'm probably going to run out of battery before that happens. Again, sad situation, but we want to know everything. A lot of people think that this is done and over with. The 5 that was involved was arrested. Well, I disagree. I just feel like, Grice told his wife. Grice told his wife. Did the cooks know? Did F. Twombly know? Did C. Twombly know? I just think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of digging. Am I comfortable with Buddy Leach being the DA? I'll be honest, no. And am I comfortable with a guy that got a grand jury indictment and got his police license taken away and has been in all this trouble, and the DA and him being under investigation? Now, let's remember, KM is on the witness list. Why? I don't know. I don't know what he saw, if he was there, what he knew. I don't know. But he's on the witness list. And we've talked about Brady Giglio many times. I sure would like to find where they pulled that trailer out of. Because I think it was right here. Or is this? Let's see here. Let's see what this is. I'll try to start that generator again. Okay, I'm back. I'm waiting for the computer to get enough power, but we got started. Rick did. Nope, there it is. Well, I'll get off of here and I'll come back on that. But let me make sure I get to where I lost you guys at. Okay. I mean, I could give you an answer. Okay, got that. A lot of people knew. I agree. Sherry D, thank you for popping in. Brian, my bright guy. I know you know nothing about this case, but we love you here. You lost me. My computer died. No, my battery, I put a brand new battery in this Mac Air, but it don't last very long. So, and I couldn't get the generator started. Thank you, Rick, for getting the generator started. Deb C, only based on Melanie Little live stream problems earlier today. I haven't had any live stream problems. That was my computer. So, generator problems. Yeah. We're in the bus, so. Okay. And let's see here. YouTube kept throwing you off yesterday. Oh, I blamed Lady. Oh, it was Rock. I know, Brian. I'm sorry. Sorry, Lady. Lady gets blamed for everything. I am back. I got thrown out just before. Okay. I'm going to get off of here and get back on my computer. Okay. Had to get my hotspot back on. It's all kinds of stuff. Yes, we're in the bus. Riding in the bus. Actually, we're sitting still. Where'd you park the Jeep? Just right on the side?
Over there, because there's a bunch of people parked over here. Weird. Yeah, Benjamin Lincoln guy's weird, and this guy's weird, and that guy's weird.
Okay. Let's see here. This here is what I was playing when it cut off. Now that last part looked like Tiffany's house, that blacktop road. So I'm not sure where the trailer's at, where they pulled the trailer out. But I do remember them pulling the trailer out. I'm curious, what did dog have to do with this case? Does anybody know what dog had to do with this case? Because I guess I didn't watch that one. Didn't have a clue that he was even doing something with this case. Did he do anything with this case? I don't know that he did, that I've ever seen. Okay. Let's make sure. I really want to try to find that dang. When is this one from? Looking for remains 10 months ago.
Seven-year-old Veronica Butler and 39-year-old Jillian Kelly. Now, Adams is a grandmother of one of their kids. News Nation's Nancy Liu has been tracking this story. She joins us live with exclusive new details on the ground tonight. Nancy.
Natasha, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation says they are searching vast areas of Texas County, and tragically, it is an apparent search for human remains. OSBI revealing nothing else about what happened to Jillian Kelly and Veronica Butler, but this weekend has.
I do want to say this. I did pull up the warrant to the trailer, and it has it blocked out, and it said a P.O. box. It didn't have an exact address of that warrant on that trailer, Deb, because we pulled it up. Me and you both pulled it up the other night, and I think Lavender was with us. So, but it was a P.O. box. It did not have an address per se, just a P.O. box. If I'm remembering that right, I think I am.
Confirmed an extensive investigation of a double murder. Congregants of Hugoton First Christian Church are grieving following Sunday service with prayer and hymns outside the family
So I assume this is Heath's house, maybe?
home of Jillian Kelly.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks of hope, 2 local families now know to mourn Kelly, a mother of 4, and Veronica Butler, a mother of 2. There is disdain for the 4 people now charged with their murders.
We
April
read in
14th.
the Bible that evil is in the world, and some people that don't know Jesus Christ are full of evil. As a Christian, we should forgive, but we also have to have the laws of the government take over too.
Facing first-degree murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy, 54-year-old Tiffany Adams, her boyfriend Tad Cullum, and Cole and Cora Twombly. OSBI is not revealing details about what happened or the alleged actions of each suspect, but a custody dispute may be linked to a motive. Tiffany Adams is the grandmother of the 2 children Butler was on her way to see on March 30th, and Adams was fighting against more visitation. A court hearing was set for this Wednesday when Butler was expected to seek full custody. Kelly was among 4 court-approved supervisors for Butler's visitations. They never made it to the usual pickup point, an abandoned gas station in Texas County. That is where we spotted an extraordinary show of law enforcement as they served the 4 arrest warrants in both Texas and Cimarron counties.
I don't believe any of us believe that I know I don't. I don't believe that judge was at Tad's. I know Grice was there, but I haven't, other than the judge saying it, and why would he say it? But I don't believe he was there. I don't believe him. In my personal opinion, I don't believe him that the judge was there.
Our News Nation crew, the only network on the ground to capture this exclusive footage, at one point following more than 20 SWAT and police vehicles to various locations. Outside one compound, we heard an officer on a loudspeaker announcing, "We have a warrant for your arrest." All officers appeared heavily armed and wary of all who approached, drawing guns to turn people back, including us. For the tight-knit community of Hugoton, the healing is just beginning. Now, the 4 suspects are being held at the Texas County Jail, and there's no word yet on their arraignments. Their alleged actions have left 6 children without their mothers. And Natasha, in spending the day in Hugoton, I really sense the community rallying around these 2 families which understandably have requested privacy.
Yeah,
Natasha.
certainly. And I know you've been immersed in these communities and tracking the minutia of this story, not the resolution we were hoping for. But Nancy Liu, we appreciate it, live in Texas County, Oklahoma. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your.
There was something else. I'll check into that Eagle Stars and Stripes. I do not know about it, but I'll check into it. But there was one other thing that was shared today. Let me find it. That somebody wanted us to look at. If I can find it, I'm going to share it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, give it to me. Why is it doing that? Jason says, I agree with you on the judge not being there, Rock. His story isn't ever consistent. It's not consistent unless, because he said there was guns pulled on him. Unless he's in that white truck, which everybody says that is not his white truck. Maybe he borrowed a truck. There is a white truck that pulls up as they're doing them warrants. And I'm trying to get out of this damn Discord so I can pull up this new one. And it's not letting me. But anyway, there we go. Anyway, the white truck pulls up and they have their guns pulled on it, and that white truck puts its reverse lights on. So with that said, I'm very curious. Very, very curious. Okay. Is this it? What is this? Oh no, that's me. That's our live. Okay. Now, there was something that was shared earlier. We wait, Rock. But his first story was in the house, guns in his face, then that changed to driving up. I don't even think he said he drove up. I don't think it ever changed. I think I'm the one that changed it. I'm like, well, there is a truck that drove up. They do got guns pulled on it. I don't think he said that. I did. But he said that he was in the house. That reminded him of the Vietnam War. And then we did a little bit of digging. And not sure he was even old enough to be in the Vietnam War. So not sure about that. That's a gray area that we're kind of like, is that what's going on or what? So Kansas Rural wanted us to go over a case. Psychopath Florida teen murdered his mom and a year after killing dad. This is an interesting case where the teen killed his father in Lincoln County, north of Oklahoma City. Really did not prove he killed his dad, so they let him go. Let's see here. If I can share it with you. It is something new. He even went as far as to give him Vietnam flashbacks. That's correct, Jason. That is correct. I also found something earlier, and I should have saved it, and I didn't. I'll find it again. There was a police department in Oklahoma that the police chief and all the officers just quit. They didn't give a reason, nothing. They just walked out and quit. That was kind of crazy. This was referred to us by Kansas Rural. How long is this? 22 minutes. It has some Oklahoma in it. She was saying, let's check it out.
A 39-year-old mother by her 17-year-old son.
And if that wasn't shocking enough, a teenager accused of murdering his mom, the sheriff says he also killed his father.
When you look at this, you see a kid. When I look at him, I see a psychopath.
I have the chilling details from the murder of Kathy Griffith and the arrest of her son Colin Griffith for the crime. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Just when you think you've heard it all, a case like Colin Griffith's comes up, and it's had my jaw on the floor for hours now. I've been going through the case, and it's absolutely unbelievable. Colin is a 17-year-old who was starting college early. His mom, Kathy Griffith, had posted photos on Instagram just last month bragging about that major accomplishment. She said Colin had already earned 18 college credits. That's no small feat. Colin and his mom, they look really happy in the photos. She even bought him a new car for graduation. Kathy Griffith was very proud of her son. She bragged about him on Instagram all of the time. Just last month, she posted a photo of him and talked about how he was going to college. That was on August 20th. Then Sunday night in Polk County, Florida, which is in between Tampa and Orlando, the sheriff says they got a 911 call from Colin. Here's Sheriff Grady Judd.
It all started on September the 8th, which was this last
Polk
Sunday,
County,
when we got a 911 call
County Sheriff.
from Colin Griffith, who's 17 years of age.
I don't know if they'll flag me, so we'll just do this as a accommodating learning. But this was shared to the Discord. Supposedly he killed his dad in Oklahoma. So interesting. Let's listen to it. And yes, Dad, this is the one that was shared in Discord.
And here's what he said. He said he and his mother had a very long fight, and she fell on a knife and killed herself. And she's bleeding from the neck. He didn't say she killed herself, said he's bleeding from the neck.
The death of Kathy Griffith is an absolute tragedy, but I'm able to tell you about it here on Crime Fix because of sponsors like Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan is a law firm that can help you if you are ever hurt in an accident. The firm has more than 1,000 lawyers working, and they're ready to fight for you and to stick up for your rights. Starting a claim is easy, and it can be done in 8 clicks or less, all just using your cell phone. And you only pay Morgan & Morgan if you win. You can't beat that. So give it a try. Log on to forthepeople.com/LC Crime Fix to start your claim in 8 clicks or less. The sheriff says the 911 call takers tried to help Colin. Of course they did, telling him what to do to try to help save his mom's life. Then deputies arrived.
He met the deputies outside, and he was calm, cool, collected, not upset, and he had blood on him. What we found inside was this knife. This knife is 12 inches long, and of the 12 inches, 8 inches of that is the blade. So he's saying that his mother fell on this knife.
That is a huge, huge knife. Of course, the medical examiner performed an autopsy on Kathy Griffith. This is what the sheriff said the ME found.
The next morning at the medical examiner's office and the autopsy, the medical examiner said it is not reasonable or plausible that she died the way that he said she did. Just didn't happen. There were witnesses outside the mobile home that actually saw Colin drag his mother into the house by the hair on her head. Colin is about 6 foot and 160 pounds.
Can you imagine? Neighbors told deputies they saw Colin dragging his mom into the house by her hair. That's terrifying. And the sheriff said that Colin told the 911 call takers that they had had a long fight. Sheriff Judd said that Colin Griffith had moved to Florida with his mom in March of last year. This was a month after Colin had been charged with murdering his father, Charles, in Lincoln County, Oklahoma.
Colin said that his dad pulled a knife on him, and he shot and killed his dad. That's right. His father was named Charles. He shot him once in the chest and once in the head, and he claimed self-defense. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office and the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations charged Colin with murder in the first degree. They dropped the charges less than a month later. They said they could not disprove Colin's assertion of self-defense. So he was released.
So the charges were dropped against Colin in Oklahoma, and he moves to Florida to live with his mom in Charlotte County in March of last year. Charlotte County is about 2 hours south of Colin's grandma's house in Polk County.
You would think things would be better. He would be really, really lucky that, hey, this was a self-defense and I'm here with mom. But 6 months later, guess what happened? He's Baker acted. So it's September, and as he's getting out of the original Baker Act, he makes a statement that, well, I'll kill myself or I'll kill my mother by shooting or stabbing her. Charlotte County re-Baker acts him the same exact day. They keep him 3 more days.
The Baker Act allows a person to be held for 72 hours for a mental health evaluation.
So this guy kills his dad, and they don't have enough evidence, so they ship him off to Polk County, and he kills his mom? What?
Now, fast forward to November of 2023.
Colin then is arrested for domestic violence on his mother. And the reason he battered his mother is because she was disciplining him and took his video game privileges away. So he beat up his mother. He pushed her to the ground and he stomped on her. The grandmother was there and witnessed this. Colin said it was self-defense. She made me do it. The grandmother said, no, no, no. Your mother did not provoke this at all. You simply were being disciplined and made to give up your game because of failure to carry out what you should, empty the garbage, wash the dishes, whatever they gave him to do. He claims self-defense when he stomped his mama, but he went to jail anyway.
So this is November of 2023, and Sheriff Judd says Colin went to jail for what he did to his mom then. Then in February of this year, Sheriff Judd said his office got a call about Colin Griffith.
He has an argument with his mother, and he runs away from Charlotte County and comes back to Auburndale to his grandmother's house. Now, his grandmother's not there. And we got involved in this on the 12th of February. And the mother said, and the grandmother said, hey, we don't feel safe with him around. So our deputies who found him up here as a missing persons reported in Charlotte County turned him over to DCF. 2 days later, on the 14th of February, the anniversary of him killing his dad a year ago, he's reunited with his mother by DCF. Colin made the statement that I don't want to go home. I'll use any force necessary to avoid it, to include killing my mother. So that's the second time he threatened to kill his mother. 2 weeks later, so they didn't make him go home on the 14th, but about 2 weeks later, in March 2024, they reunite Colin with his mother again. Everybody's calmed down.
So that's March of this year. And in May, Colin graduated from high school. His mom was really proud of him, as most moms gift. Colin even received letters
they gave him to do. He claims self-defense when he stomped his mama, but he went to jail anyway.
So this is November of 2023, and Sheriff Judd says Colin went to jail for what he did to his mom then. Then in February of this year, Sheriff Judd said his office got a call about Colin Griffith.
He has an argument with his mother, and he runs away from Charlotte County and comes back to Auburndale to his grandmother's house. Now, his grandmother's not there. And we got involved in this on the 12th of February. And the mother said, and the grandmother said, hey, we don't feel safe with him around. So our deputies who found him up here as a missing persons reported in Charlotte County turned him over to DCF. 2 days later, on the 14th of February, the anniversary of him killing his dad a year ago, he's reunited with his mother by DCF. Colin made the statement that I don't want to go home. I'll use any force necessary to avoid it, to include killing my mother. So that's the second time he threatened to kill his mother. 2 weeks later, so they didn't make him go home on the 14th, but about 2 weeks later, in March 2024, they reunite Colin with his mother again. Everybody's calmed down.
So that's March of this year. And in May, Colin graduated from high school. His mom was really proud of him, as most moms would be. She was posting photos on Instagram of him in his cap and gown. And as I mentioned earlier, she actually bought him a car as a gift. Colin even received letters from members of Congress congratulating him about graduating from high school. And photos on that Instagram showed that they spent the 4th of July holiday weekend in Washington, D.C., and even went on a tour of the White House. Then on September 6th, Sheriff Judd said Kathy Griffith and Colin had an argument, and he took off for his grandma's house in Polk County.
He flees from his mother's house again and comes up to his grandmother's house. Grandmother's not there. She's in the Keys. So then mom lets the event calm down, and she tells her son, hey, you need to come home. And she asks him to come home and face his responsibility. Colin says, I'm not coming back home. That was September the 7th. So now we're to the fateful day on September 8th. Mom drives up here to Auburndale from Charlotte County. She arrives at 4 o'clock. At about 4:30, witnesses and neighbors see Colin and mom arguing outside, and Colin grabs his mother by the hair and drags her into the house. Just about 2 hours later, that's when we receive a 911 call where Colin said, I've had a very, very long fight with mom, and she fell on a knife and she's bleeding from the neck.
The sheriff says witnesses heard Kathy Griffith telling her son, let me go. Colin Griffith is charged with first degree.
So he's saying his mom fell on a knife? Interesting.
Murder, kidnapping, and violation of a no contact order. Sheriff Judd talked about what Colin Griffith said when deputies arrived at his grandmother's house following his 911 call.
Had he gone to live with his grandmother at the end of this and she crossed him, she would be next. He's violent. He's dangerous. He showed zero remorse when he was being interviewed. In fact, when we attempted the interview, he met the original deputy in the front yard. And he didn't say, mom's in here, mom's bleeding to death, mom needs help. He looked the deputy in the eye and says, I know my rights, I want an attorney. Zero emotion about hurry up, help mom, she's bleeding, she's got a problem. He is a dangerous human being.
Sadly, a day before Kathy Griffith died, she posted on Instagram, that old familiar body ache, the snaps from the same little breaks in your soul. You know when it's time to go. Sometimes giving up is the strong thing. Now, of course, we don't know if that post had anything to do with her son, and we may never know. But this wasn't like her other posts, which were incredibly upbeat. Sheriff Judd summed up his thoughts on the case this way.
When you look at this, you see a kid. When I look at him, I see a psychopath. I see totally erratic behavior to the point that he's already at 17 years of age shot and killed his father and got away with it, and stabbed his mother in the neck so hard that the knife went all the way through and was to the back of her neck, and she died there. He's being charged with first-degree murder. Obviously, And we are asking the state attorney's office, it's their decision, but our state attorney's office is the greatest to prosecute him as an adult.
And Sheriff Judd said he's actually been in touch with the sheriff's office in Oklahoma, telling them they may want to take a second look at the death of Colin's father. Dr. Daniel Bober is a forensic psychiatrist, and he really specializes in issues with kids. I am confounded by this case, Dr. Bober.
Yes, it's really disturbing. And when you consider the fact that he had a similar event with his father just a year prior to that, it sort of boggles the mind how something like this could happen again.
Most certainly. And mom, it sounds like, had gone out to Omaha and had picked up her son. He was on bail, GPS bracelet, the whole 9 yards. They determine out there that they can't prove that he didn't act in self-defense in killing his father. She takes him in, and then somewhere along the way, he is, put into the hospital under the Baker Act. So mom obviously knew her son was having some issues. We don't really have any insight into what those issues are at this point, but we do know that he was accused of some acts of violence against her, had been seen, grabbing her, pulling her hair, things of that nature. This is really terrifying stuff.
It's something I see all the time. I see parents.
Really?
I do. I see parents all the time with kids who are very aggressive and violent towards them. But maternal instincts are very strong, and they want to believe in them, and they would literally lay down their life to protect their child, and that even means to their own detriment. So this is not so hard to believe for me. But if you look at this young man and you look at his history of violence, I mean, the greatest risk factor is his prior history of violence. But we don't know more than that. We don't know if he was diagnosed with any number of mental disorders, if he was using substances, if he had a history of trauma. The sheriff referred to him as a psychopath, but I think it's more complicated. It's more nuanced than that. Psychopaths are people who are cold. They lack empathy. They manipulate people. It's not a formal diagnosis in what we call the DSM-5. Someone who is 17 years old might have a diagnosis of what we call conduct disorder, where they violate societal norms. And then when they turn 18, it becomes antisocial personality disorder. But I think there's still a lot of very significant unanswered questions here.
A lot of questions. I mean, we don't know if he was receiving medication. I mean, we do know, though, that he was placed in the hospital under the Baker Act. So mom knew, obviously, something was going on. And I'm a mom. I mean, you want to do everything you can to help your kids. And I don't think that we are naturally equipped to deal with mental health issues and whatever was going on with him. We really don't know what was going on in his mind. But I went on mom's social media, Kathy Griffith's social media, and it's just amazing to me. We have the mugshot and the picture of this knife that he claims his mother fell on. And then we have all of these photos that I found on social media. They spent the July 4th weekend in Washington, D.C. They went to a tour of the White House. He graduated early and was headed to college early. He went into college with 18 credits already under his belt. So he's a smart kid. He has to have some level of intelligence. She even bought him a brand new car for graduating early. So mom is trying to, I mean, everything looks happy on social media. This is like the danger of social media too. Everything looks good on social media.
I call it the Facebook
Things
fallacy.
were not good.
Right. The Facebook fallacy. People always portray their best life on Facebook, but so many people we know are suffering, and that's just not the reality. This is someone who obviously has trouble regulating themselves, managing their emotions, and can act.
As you see here, it says Colin Griffith, 17, is accused of murdering his mother, Kathy Griffith, last Sunday night in Polk County, Florida, which this was September 12, 2024. The case is shocking because Colin was charged with murdering his father in Oklahoma in February 2023, but the charges were later dropped. Sheriff Grady Judd detailed the turbulent year Colin Griffin had leading up to his arrest for his mother's murder. Law and Crime. This is from Law and Crime, and I shared the link, and we'll finish watching it.
Act out aggressively. It seems like in both these situations, it probably wasn't something that he planned out, although we don't know that for sure. But it seems like he is someone that goes from 0 to 100 in just a second and just boils over. So I would be curious to know what his mental health history is.
The sheriff said that, he had become angry, and I guess every parent can relate to this. Mom took away his video games at one point. I mean, they argued about chores. These are things that are pretty common that parents and kids argue about. So you talk about the boiling over. I mean, these are normal everyday things that parents squabble with their kids about and tell them, get off the video games. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. And then the stuff with dad out in another state, killing dad and being told, oh, well, we don't have the evidence to prove that it wasn't self-defense. Do you think they go back and look at that case again? I mean, if they didn't have the evidence to say it wasn't self-defense then, could they get any evidence now that it wasn't? It's unbelievable to me.
It's very difficult. I mean, they might have to take a second look at that first case. But I admitted a kid in the emergency room yesterday who, again, had a history of bipolar disorder, was 17 years old, destroyed the house, trashed the house. Mom brought him in because she was afraid of him. And he is now hospitalized under the Baker Act. So I get this. I see this all the time. But for some kids, there just isn't that ceiling. They will attack their parents. They will kill their parents. And even if they've attempted to kill their parents before, their parents will take them back because those instincts to protect the child are very strong, even if you have to put yourself in harm's way. And it's very frustrating as a mental health professional to see parents who do that, who are literally willing to put their life at risk. But it's something I see all the time.
A lot of people might not be familiar with the Baker Act, but it allows for like a temporary hospitalization of somebody with mental health issues. So how long can somebody be held under the Baker Act? And do the hospital officials then just determine, okay, we've been able to stabilize this person in this way, so they're going to be released now? How does that work?
So the Baker Act is an involuntary 72-hour hold. If at the time of the expiration of the Baker Act, we as mental health professionals determine that the patient is not stable, we can then petition the court by getting the opinion of a second psychiatrist for more time. And very often that is the case. And a case like this is probably one where that would occur.
Wow. So he's 72 hours involuntary hold, then he's back out, presumably going to school. I mean, how does a kid who apparently has been hospitalized under the Baker Act then go, and he's apparently graduating early from high school with 18 credits under his belt? It's confounding to me because obviously he's got some level of intelligence.
Yes, he does. But, emotional regulation and intelligence aren't necessarily correlated. I meet very, very intelligent kids who have multiple hospitalizations. They've trashed the house, they've beat up their parents, they've attacked other kids at school, but they have very high IQs. So one doesn't necessarily correlate with the other.
How common is it for kids to be beating up their parents or becoming violent with their parents? Because this is a kid who was charged with this last year. So this is somebody who has a history, according to law enforcement, of being violent with his mom.
Again, I think we have to look at what were the precipitating factors, what were the triggers. We see violence in kids for any number of reasons. It could be because maybe they smoked cannabis. It could be because they have a history of bipolar disorder. They could be antisocial. There's any number of reasons that could contribute to violence, but we know that the best predictor of violence is a past history of violence.
Well, the police say there's a past history of violence here, and it came in the form of killing dad in 2023 on Valentine's Day. So this is amazing to me. It still leaves me shaking my head because you kill dad, according to law enforcement, in 1 year, and then 18 months later, you're accused of killing your mom. It's unbelievable to me. Have you ever seen anything like that, Dr. Bober?
I have not. And you would think that after the first crime, which I guess the charges were dismissed, so he wasn't convicted of that crime, after the first event, I should say, you would think that there would have been better safeguards in place to prevent this from happening again. And it's really just a tragedy.
It is a tragedy. Well, and it's unbelievable. Dr. Bober, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Mia Jeanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with.
All right. So there was that. I want to thank Rick for being quiet. He started to get on his phone, and I was like, no. Anyway, I'll try to go back live later. One thing, I want to find the case where the whole police department quit in Oklahoma, and they didn't give a reason. And see if you guys know where that area is, because I might be willing to go to that area and figure it out. But one thing we're finding is KM is very highly involved with a lot of not good stuff, in my opinion. That's my opinion. And at some point, we have to help these locals out. I mean, they might be scared to talk. Hey, Flower Daisies, it's been a while. It's good to see you just when I'm getting off. And bring everything up. I mean, I do believe after being down there, there's awesome people. Still associate with them, think they're great people. I think they needed an outsider to come in and start bringing things to light. I do remember when I first started telling people, Kevin McIntyre is not a good person, in my opinion. He's had a grand jury indictment. I had people tell me, no, he was born and raised in Keys. And I'm like, no, he's not. But I didn't have my computer down there with me. Again, I left with a quick suitcase to go look for Veronica and Jillian. I wasn't prepared to be there that long, and I wasn't prepared to be the only one looking, without Ellie involved. There was some other things. I will tell you, the team found some other stuff where we can get information, okay? And it's in a program. But like on one of them, it said that, for example, it said Tiffany Adams' court date has been moved to June. Well, I looked up on the OSCN, it still says April 16th. So we got to vet the source, okay, and this program that we found, because it's got a lot in it. The team found it. I did not. I only heard about it today, so I really haven't got to dig into it because we've been driving. With that said, we will check into it. Yeah, a psych. Yeah. And you're saying the court was already held on that? Maybe we should go watch the court trial of that. I don't know if they had it public or not. If they had courtrooms or cameras in there, do you think there would be cameras in the courtroom for the Kansas Moms case? And I know there's several people out there, and I'm torn by this, so that wants this case to be over and plea deals to be made. I'm with Jarrett, that's on Lauren's channel. I don't think Cora should have got any kind of plea deal. And it's of my own opinion. My opinion. I don't believe Cora. And I believe that she don't want CW telling her story because it's going to conflict with Cora's. Now, in case you didn't know it, the last time in court, CW was there. She was in a hotel in case they needed her. But there's just something that was Cole on the dry run or on Veronica's birthday in Hugoton involved in that. Like, there's so many things that just don't add up. I don't know that I believe Cora. I do believe Grice. I do believe Grice. And, I know he had 3 different stories and he lied and he was drunk and this and that. The other thing I don't understand is I don't understand how he met OSBI supposedly. Supposedly this came out in court. I wasn't there. But he meets OSBI on the second occasion at Four Corners. And he tells them he did this. And they said, well, we can't arrest you. We don't have a warrant. And Grice says, okay. And they said, so go home and we'll call you when we have the warrant. You come turn yourself in. Listen, I watch a lot of First 48. And again, my kid's dad was a marshal for 33 years. So something just don't add up. When do they ever have somebody come confess and have details to what happened and they just let them walk away and they're going to come turn themselves in? I mean, Grice also supposedly asked a friend, how does a person get their family to Mexico? Like, dude, you just go across the border. Like, I used to go to Tijuana all the time. It's real easy to get across the other way. And right now it's hard to get back across unless you have a passport. But interesting. Yes, on the Colin Griffin case. I'm just curious if that one was televised, if there was cameras in the courtroom for that. I don't know if there was or wasn't. Hey, Kirsten. Much love to you and Wrangler. It's good to see you. we're bringing out the KM stuff, and it's good to see you. Everybody say hi to Kirsten and our love to you and Wrangler and the kids. And, we are all hoping that that court goes well and that Wrangler and you get the kids soon. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I believe you are. I talked to you the other day. So looks like you had a wonderful Valentine's Day watching a movie with the kids. The kids look so happy. But I know your daughter would like to meet her siblings, her other siblings. So I appreciate you coming in and paying attention. We are trying to release all the Kevin McIntyre thing. As a friend and someone who loves you, I would be real careful about commenting other than hey and hello. And just be really careful, but know that we all love you. And as a group here, we love you. And you guys got more support than you even know. A lot of support. And we're all rooting for you guys to get these kids. And when you go back and watch this, I don't know if you've been watching the whole thing. There's no reason why you guys should not have these children. And I hope that court the 17th will help you guys with that. And again, I don't know of anybody in our group here of the Rock Chalk True Crime that don't think that Wranglers should have the kids. Everybody thinks Wranglers should have the kids. They've lost their granny. They've lost their mom. He's the only person left that is their actual family. And I'd heard rumors, and I don't want you to verify them or not, but supposedly one of the aunts has said something that there was a report type thing made, and that the kids are maybe not doing very well, that they're using the bathroom in their pants and using the bathroom at night. I mean, that's a sure sign of unhappiness. We are going to do everything on this channel to try to help Wrangler get his kids. And we don't beat around the bush. We don't beat around the bush. We tell everything like it is. And try to make sure that everything gets out. Forward to see you smile. It was said that Paul Grice left to go to the store and didn't return back home for 3 to 5 days. Supposedly he was hiding out at the Cooks. But that was the story a lot of people in the area was saying. Yeah, but how do you have him? He told OSBI supposedly at Four Corners that he did it. And they said, well, we don't have an arrest warrant. Since when? I mean, you can call the judge and get an arrest warrant anytime. And if you're just tuning in, Kirsten Rickman is Wrangler's wife, who I love very much, and the family. And we're glad she stopped in. We're really glad she stopped in. And we appreciate all the support from everyone. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, Kristen and Wrangler. Hope you all are doing well. And all the kiddos and the babies is growing like crazy. Wow, terrible typos. His case was televised and he was found not guilty. Okay, I will go look at that. Leroy, Candace, that's what I thought. Thank you. Deb C, we're all here and supporting you and Wrangler. Us as a group. Yeah, this might be Rock Chalk channel, but it's all of our channel. It is all of our channel. I'm just a spokesperson, okay? We all dig, and we dig every night. The team was digging last night while I was driving. I'm in the bus. I got to go meet Rick. He went somewhere. And look, for you, see you smile. Hugs to you. Like, I'm so glad you tuned in. I'm so glad you made people know that you were here. And if there's something that we can do, let me know. And we'll definitely do our best to help all we can. You know, I do realize that, you know, there's family members out there that, you know, when you go through a custody battle or a separation, you know, Wrangler was in court, Veronica was in court, it was back and forth. You know, I do realize that the picture that the documentary used, like, that looked like maybe a high school picture. And none of us are perfect, okay? And I'm not perfect, and nobody's perfect. But he did his time. He did rehab, and there's nothing that should be keeping him from having these kids. And the way I understand it, he hasn't even got to speak to the children. I mean, his children are old enough to know who dad is. And if the rumor has it that there's people telling these children that, because I heard a rumor that there's people telling these children that Granny killed mom. I don't think these children are old enough to be knowing that. Making up fake stories that maybe, I mean, who would have their kid drinking beer and smoking on an e-cig? You know, if you're the family on Veronica's side and you're coercing or you're telling these children things, I will say shame on you. These are innocent children. They do still have a father, and I do believe that justice will prevail. Also, in that, I do believe that Wrangler and Kirsten will end up with the children. I do believe that, and they'll get to finally meet their half siblings, and their stepsisters and brothers. Like, I believe that's going to happen. Kirsten says, just keep praying for us. God can do amazing things. Listen, we pray for you all the time. And the Kevin McIntyre thing is a big thing too. You know, I pulled Wrangler's record, and when he was arrested for the gun, it was McIntyre. There was another officer, but McIntyre's stuff's all in there. And then he said he had nothing to do with Wrangler's arrest. I mean, I think we're dealing with the good old boy system, but maybe Rock's made enough noise, and now this truck driver's made enough noise that people are going to pay attention. Things aren't right. For you to see a smile. You're wonderful, Rock. Thanks for helping Wrangler and his family. The world needs more people like you. Appreciate everything you do. Listen, it's the whole group. You guys have all been awesome. You know, I do. Beach Baby is from the area, giving you hugs. Kirsten and Wrangler. They're from the Keys area, down in that area, Boise City. You got a lot of people that know you that's in this group, and they all believe that Wrangler should get the kids. And the rumors of the kids not doing well and stuff, that's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking to me. And they're awful young to be even being told that Granny killed their mom. Like, who does that? Your mom's in heaven and you'll see her someday, and why go into the gory details? That in itself should be child abuse, if you ask me. But obviously, I don't run Oklahoma law, and we're just going to keep plugging at this away. I still, with all my heart, believe this case needs moved. I think it's the good old boy system. If you happen to watch Lauren the other day, the attorney on there said Kevin McIntyre should be selling lawnmowers. In his opinion, he should never be a law enforcement officer, and he's the top dog. I mean, Buddy Leach has never been elected as a DA. He was appointed by Governor Stitt. I mean, if you live in Oklahoma and you live in that area, I'd be writing my governor, and I'd be raising hell, because now he's involved in this, and that's 4 counties. If you think of the DA, it's Beaver County, Harper County, Boise City, Cimarron County, and Texas County. That's 4 counties that the DA task force and the DA is involved in. That's a lot of cases, okay? And honestly, we should start looking at RICO, because this could very well be a RICO, racketeering case, where they were writing tickets to CDL. My husband has a CDL license. You can't just write a ticket to a CDL and then push it off to the side and have them pay a fine and it don't show up on the record. So I'm telling you, something's wrong there. Something's bad wrong there. And they're going to get to the bottom of it. But I'm sharing it everywhere so that it gets followed. But I really think that this needs to be out of the good old buddy system, and maybe even the child custody too. I don't know what's going on there. If the children's services worker is not keeping in contact, I mean, I'm curious. I need to get back with you to see if Wrangler's attorney's keeping in contact with him. What's going on there? What's taking so long? I mean, he's been out since September. He has not even got to speak to his children. And if his children knows anything, who told them? Because they're too young to read. Who told him all this information that's going around? That's what I want to know. But I have to get off of here. Kirsten, give Wrangler a big hug for all of us. Give all them babies a hug for all of us. And we are working our ass off. We are going to get to the bottom of every bit of it. Deb C says, I'm still wondering if Hero Tammy Vada contacted any other truckers over that. You know, I am trying to find her. I'm in the midst of trying to find her right now. So I would love to talk to her. Kirsten says, on another note, and not related to the case, have you seen the video of an Oklahoma foster kid put outside in the snow, no jacket or shoes as punishment, and nothing is being done about it? No, I haven't. I have not. Is that recent? Let me see if I can't find it here. Kid in Oklahoma. My opinion of the foster care system is not very high. I will say that. Or the Kansas foster care system. Either one. Put outside in snow. No shoes. Let's see what we find. It's a viral video. Here, let's add it. Thanks, Kristen, for sharing that. Let me get this off of here. Yeah, my faith in the foster care system is so not good. Let me make sure you guys are seeing it here. I'm sorry, I looked something else up on my phone, so I have to pull my phone up to make sure. Yeah. So a viral video shows a Haskell foster child left outside in freezing weather with no shoes or coat. Police recommend charges and DHS is investigating. A video posted online shows a young girl outside in freezing weather on Tuesday in Haskell. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to stop it for just a minute. Let me make sure that you guys are being able to see this because it's looking like I'm the only one seeing it. So I want to make sure that you guys are seeing it. There we go. There we go. Give it a minute. I always look at my phone because that way when I look at my phone, I can tell that you're caught up. Okay, here we go.
Furious tonight after a video posted online shows a young girl outside in freezing weather wearing pajamas and no shoes, yelling that she's cold and wants to come back inside.
Haskell police say the girl's living with foster parents. A man who saw that girl called 911 and tells News on 6's Chloe Abbott it made him sick to his stomach. Chloe.
The man who saw this happen says the girl was outside for at least 10 minutes yesterday in the snow, and now he's worried for the child's safety. We went to the home of where this child lives to ask her foster parents if they wanted to comment on the video of their foster child begging to come inside from the freezing cold without shoes or a coat. No one answered the door, but Haskell police arrived to tell me the parents didn't want to talk. Before Rhett Wyke saw the girl, he heard her screaming, so he went to see what was happening.
I saw this little girl standing on like a wheelchair ramp at a back door, like trying her hardest to keep her feet up off the ground 1 foot at a time constantly and saying, I want to go back inside. I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold.
That's when he called 911.
I mean, I was really mad. I mean, I'm mad and scared for the kid.
Wyke says he's shocked foster parents would do something like this.
I saw the foster dad come out and tell the little girl that she needed to stop whining. You know, you want to come back in, stop whining.
Wyke says he filed a DHS report and hopes someone will take the proper measures to keep the girl safe.
Foster families should be there not only to just give them a place to be, but you need to try to help the kid through what's going on, you know. You hear some horror stories, and I'm sure there's worse, but that's not okay at all.
Haskell police say they have recommended criminal charges to the Muskogee County District Attorney's Office, but the courthouse was closed yesterday and today. The DA tells us he'll look for the report.
That was Chloe Abbott reporting in Haskell. DHS sent News on 6 a statement that says the safety and well-being of our state's children, particularly those in foster care, are top priorities for Oklahoma Human Services. We are aware of this situation, but are unable to offer additional details at this time. However, we want to reassure the public that all safety concerns related to this situation are being addressed.
Why settle on sportsbook odds?
Well, I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to say that, I mean, just look up your missing kids, okay? And look at how many of, just in Kansas, Oklahoma, look how many is from the foster care. Okay, runaways, foster care. We've got, man, I want to say it's like 30,000 in Kansas missing from foster care. I'll get the numbers right. I'll look it up and we'll do a special just on that foster care. But, you know, I had some neighbors and they fought all the time. The cops were always there and they applied for foster care. And they used me as a reference. And I wrote the most horrible reference that you could ever write somebody. And they still ended up with kids. And they would be out at 3 o'clock in the morning. They had a baby that was maybe 2 months old. All the kids out there, we had the cops there all the time. So what they did, they just moved. They moved. So I don't even know where they went. But I was constantly sending letters. Listen, Oklahoma's probably like Kansas. Kansas goes through a company called St. Francis. And St. Francis gets so much money for every child they place in foster care. And it's a racketeering job. So if they're not placing kids in foster care and they're putting them back home with the parents, they're not making any money. So there's a problem if you ask me. Only Nana has hot glasses. Happy Grandma. Hi, Kristen. Our prayers are with your family. Those babies deserve to be stable in your home. Absolutely, I agree. Leroy says it should never get to that point. Kristen, you know, like I said, I've heard rumors. People message me, call me all the time, email me that I don't want to upset Wrangler, but you know, supposedly the kids are peeing themselves and peeing in school and maybe at the principal's office, and it might be time to hire an investigator to investigate the damn state and the foster system. I don't know what's going on, but again, this is your safe spot. You're welcome to come here anytime. I'm so glad you showed up so that people know that I don't just say I'm helping. Like I really do. I do care about your children. And I call them your children too, because you're the only mom figure they have left, you know, and I do believe that God's going to bring the kids back to you guys. But what kind of damage is going to be done when they come back? I mean, if they know that Granny killed Mom, how do they know that? And then all this other stuff that's brought up. Who's talking adult shit to these kids? I have a problem with that. There's certain things that kids should not be talked to about. And granny killing mom is one of them. And then I'm going to go even a step further. I know Veronica's mom gets to see them kids. Is the brothers being allowed around them kids? You know, the ones in the SA report. If grandma is going to see them, in my opinion, Amanda, if she's getting to see these kids, is the half brothers also getting to see these kids? Veronica's half brothers. I got a lot of questions, and it might be time we start doing our own investigating, because it seems like the state don't want to do anything about it. But I will say, if you're quiet, things don't happen. It's getting loud and being forceful and demanding you get your kids back, demanding you've been out since September from your rehab. You haven't even got to talk to them, and they're supposed to work for you. They're supposed to work for you. They're not supposed to be working for just the children. Because if anybody asks what's the best interest of the children, it would be with their father. Okay? And Wrangler was in jail, and then he went to rehab. So we know Wrangler, and he hasn't got to talk to him. So who the hell told these kids that their granny killed their mom? Who told them that? If you guys haven't been able to see them, that means somebody from the other side of the family, which tells me it's not a good idea to have them over at the other side of the family. Because them are just things that children should not know, in my opinion. Like Deb C says, those kids are not old enough to comprehend that. No, but they're repeating it. And they repeated it to another kid at school. My granny killed my mom. My dad gave me beer to drink. My dad had me smoking a cigarette. What? Kids don't just make this up. There's got to be an adult somewhere telling them this, and that's where the state needs to step in. Now, this is all my opinion, okay? It's all my opinion, but I really mean everything I say, and it is my opinion. Kirsten says, you are our rock for sure. You help us more than anyone else. We appreciate you, and we love you. Listen, it makes me want to cry, and I try to be strong for Wrangler and you, but I truly do love you guys, and I really want the kids to be happy, and it's going to be hard at first getting the kids back, but I mean, my gosh, they're in an environment where they're getting told their granny killed their mom. What worse environment could they be in? You know what I mean? And for somebody to say that that's 6 kids is going to be too much. Hell, my neighbor across the street has 13. You know, Catholics don't use birth control, so they have as many kids as they have. So you guys got to keep your head up and keep fighting, and we're going to keep fighting with you all the way, Kirsten. You make sure Wrangler knows that. He's got a lot of people that truly loves him. A lot of these people are from the area too, and they know him. They know him from when he was a young man. And I'm just curious, that picture that was in the documentary, was he in high school during that picture? It looked like an old picture. It will traumatize those kids all over again. Yeah. You know, I don't even know about, before I know they was going to slowly integrate them, I don't know. I almost feel like Judge Cash needs to pull the kids, give them to you guys, and put you guys all in counseling, and you guys will figure it out from there, because somehow they're told that their granny killed their mom and all this other crazy stuff that's going up. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. Christopher is always willing to, I'll even drop the link, because I'm sure he's got a prayer he wants to give. Rick is going to be ready to kill me. I'm just going to tell you that. I was supposed to already be where we're supposed to be. I'm driving the bus. He drove the Jeep. Christopher says, I'm down for any missions needed. Absolutely. I am too. Whatever we can do to help you, we're in. Christopher, I don't like the word missions. Well, Missions, I wouldn't call it missions, but I do believe the kids um, need to be with their father and their father's family, which would be Kirsten, the stepmom, um, the new baby. I don't say the names. The new baby, and then their three step siblings, and I just don't think they're doing as good as people want to try to say they're doing in the environment they're in. He was 16 in the documentary. I knew it. I said, oh my God, this looks like a high school picture. What in the hell? And I love every picture you guys send. I sometimes will share them in Discord with people that grew up knowing Wrangler, but I don't post it on my page. And again, we're just going to keep at this, and we're going to keep doing it until we just can't do it no more. They definitely need their father. So, yes. So our prayer tonight will be that listen, I've never did a prayer on live, so I'm going to do a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we are so thankful for everything you do for us. We ask at this time that you look out for Wrangler's kids and you make sure that they are safe right now. And we hope, Father, that you have the end goal of getting the kids back with their father and their family. They have a new baby sister they have not met, and they have stepsisters and brothers. We hope, Father, that you can help us in this mission and do things right and get the kids where they belong, and they will strive. In your name, amen. That was the very first prayer I've ever did on a live. So there you go. Yes, they need to be with the Father. There we go. Yeah, I've never did a prayer online. So, okay, guys, I got to go meet Rick. I really do. Much love to you guys. And Beach Baby, yes, she knows Wrangler. Leroy knows Wrangler. Like, I'm telling you, these people that say that I don't have any locals that help me anymore, there's a lot of locals in here, and they love Wrangler, and they love its family, and we want the best for you guys. With that said, you got my number, Kirsten. You need me, you reach out to me. I'll be going live again. I don't know, it'll probably be tomorrow, and it'll be before the UFC fights. I'm going to try to get up some more information, but at least Kevin McIntyre is being looked at, and the good old buddy system's being looked at. So, with that said, much love to all of you. Everybody give Wrangler and his family a prayer tonight, the kids a prayer, and let's hope for the best outcome. And the best outcome would be Wrangler getting his kids and living happily ever after as a whole family. Your family's not whole till them kids come there. I get it. I understand it. Absolutely. And that's our goal. And we also want to make sure that, everything, what was done is wrong. And that everybody that was involved with what happened to Veronica and Jillian, everybody must pay. Everybody that knew or had anything to do with it. And Wrangler's not one of them. I know that. I know that with my heart. I know he is not one of them. Much love to everyone. Let's see here. Let's see this.